Whether or not you're a beginner or a pro singer or musician, I'm pretty sure that you've heard of these things that I'm wearing right now. These are in-ear monitors. They're headphones that go into your ears. You can get universal fit that you can share with people as long as you change the foam tips. And then you can get custom monitors, which is what I have right here in my hand. They're custom made to your inner ear and they fit like a glove, literally. They slide in, they provide the maximum protection from outside noise, and they seal your sound, giving you the best audio quality on the mix that you have going into your ears. So if you've gone through this process before, or if you haven't, what I'm about to show you is going to be a nice little treat. I went over to my friends at In-Ears Audio here in the Orlando, Florida area, and I used their product. My good buddy Martin, he took me on a behind-the-scenes tour of their facility, showed the process. We got it on camera of how they do molds, how they squeeze in these tiny speakers, which are called drivers, into it, and how they do this whole process. So I want you to take this tour here as we go to the facility. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and bell notification icon to get notified of more content just like this. Let's take the tour. Hey everyone, have you ever wondered what it takes to make in-ear monitors? I'm going to hope to answer that question for you today. I'm here to get impressions made for brand new in-ears. It's going to be with a company called In-Ears Audio. They're based in Florida, which is where I live, in Castleberry, Florida. And so my good buddy Martin, he's going to set it up for me. And we're going to talk about in-ears and all that wonderful stuff. So why don't you follow me in? Martin, how's it going?
Hey, good. Good to see you. Welcome to In-Ears Audio. You ready to get your in-ears done today?
Let's do this.
All right, let's go.
Not only was I attracted by their pricing, but In-Ears Audio has amazing audio quality and a technology called Adele technology, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So Martin, I've been looking forward to this day for a few weeks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what an in-ear monitor is, basically it's like tiny speakers that are in some kind of encasing. It's equivalent of like headphones that go inside of your ears. A big reason why we use those is because it blocks out the outer sound and it does some protection, or it should protect you if you don't crank your volume up, right?
Correct.
So that's kind of like the part of the big reason why we use in-ear monitors, but it also gives you a clearer sound. So you're not competing with stuff and you have your mix that's tight in your ears and you hear everything really clearly. So why don't you tell us a little bit about in-ears and where you guys started from?
Yeah, sure. So the parent company of In-Ears is called Persona Medical. It was originally known as Magnatone Hearing Aid Corporation and was started by the current president's mother way back in 1967. We're actually the oldest U.S. manufacturer of hearing aids. And we've diversified over the years. So back in 2018, we acquired a company called In-Ears Audio from a company called Fisher. And the two companies combined and used their combined history and resources to create what we consider to be one of the best lines of in-ear monitors in the industry. In addition to that, we also partnered up with a third company that has a proprietary technology called Adele, which actually reduces the pressure on your ears and creates a safer in-ear monitoring experience for musicians and in-studio recorders.
So the Adele technology is kind of like a big reason why I found you guys and was very interested in it. There was another company that was using that, but you guys are the only ones right now that are using that technology, right? I
believe that's true. We have been able to implement it better than anybody has in the past, and I think that's what's kind of made us so successful with it. It's a great technology, but it's kind of hard to build into the monitor and get it to do what you want to do on a consistent basis. And so it took us some time to figure it out, but we were able to implement it into our entire product line and provide again, a safer in-ear monitor for musicians so they can feel more secure over the long haul, that over the years they're going to have less issues with their hearing, and even in the short term, after a long night of playing or a long night of recording, they're not going to have that temporary auditory shift or the ringing in their ears.
So in essence, if you were to break it down to the most basic for somebody to understand, that Adele technology, it's almost like a valve, right? Pressure release valve?
Kind of. It's actually, it doesn't release any pressure, it absorbs it. And so one of the issues with a vented port on your in-ear monitors does create the ability to hear ambient sounds, but it also releases some of the bass response from the inner monitors. And so in order to get that back, you have to drive a lot more power to your ears. And that's of course part of the problem with in-ear monitors. They create a lot of pneumatic pressure on your eardrum, and that pneumatic pressure over time can really cause issues. So with the Adele technology, it keeps that pressure inside the ear to keep the bass response, but absorbs the pressure so your eardrum doesn't have to.
And we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but I know you said that at NAMM, there were people comparing your drivers like duals, triples, and saying that it was almost the equivalent to like 4, 5, and 6 drivers just because of the Adele technology, right?
Yeah, if you can imagine, when your eardrum gets overdriven, it has what's called a stapedius reflex, and it basically tightens up to protect itself. When that happens, it reduces your brain's perceived reception of sound by about 20 decibels. So all of the drivers in a normal in-ear monitor have to work harder to overcome that stapedius reflex. When you have the Adele technology, your eardrum stays relaxed. And so because of this extra sensitivity, a 3 driver is going to provide the same amount of perceived volume to your ear and to your brain as what would normally take a 4 or 6 driver. And so we immediately saw this in some of the earliest reviews of our products, where people were starting to compare us in levels of technology that were many drivers above the actual drivers we were using.
Do you mind showing me some of your product?
Sure. So one of the things that we can do here in the office is have people come in and listen to the different versions, different models, number of drivers that we make. So these are all designed to be a universal fit version of our custom series. And so we've got a nice designed shell, fits most ears. We use a disposable foam tip to give you a good seal inside your ear. And then we do represent the Adele technology in these so you can experience the reduced pneumatic pressure in your ears. Each of these styles, again, you can listen to anywhere from 2 drivers all the way up to 10 drivers in our Utopia. And check out the different styles of cords and connectors that we offer for the different lines of products.
Which this connector is the upgraded one, right?
Correct. This is the what a lot of consider is the best connector in the industry. It's called the Linum T2 connector. It's a newer version, I guess, of the MMCX cord. It's a round connector, so it will spin, but it's a tighter connector and it doesn't wear out as quickly. So it's going to be much more durable over time. The cords are very durable, lots of copper wire inside of each one. I think it's somewhere between 64 and 128 strands per side. So you get very low resistance on these, good transition of sound, and nice clarity.
So, and then you also have here for people to check out is all, you said all the other drivers, right? There is one particular one, the black one. What were these called?
Those are called the Zen.
Zen, that's right.
So the Zen series was designed to be a affordable way to get into a universal fit in-ear monitor that contained the Adele technology. Adele technology on our custom series products is a $200 upgrade right now at retail. The Zen 2 starts at, it's a MSRP of $400, $399, and the Zen 4, which is a 4 driver, has a MSRP of $599. Those were some of the first ones that we were sending out for review, where the reviewers were comparing us to models that were much higher in price and driver count. And the wonderful part about the Zen series, there's a very unique design to the shell itself that allows for a better fit within the ear canal. And this shape we worked on for probably 6 months, just trying to figure out how we're going to make it fit as many ears as possible and create the most comfortable and trying to think of the right word here, where it's not going to slip out of your ear, which is a big problem with a lot of universal in-ear monitors. And so we were able to accomplish this with the shell. We also made the internal side of the shell hold the drivers without any tubes. And the advantage of having a tubeless in-ear monitor is you don't have any tubes that can become clogged, detached from the drivers, get old and crack. So from a durability aspect, this is the type of in-ear monitor that you can buy and know you're going to have for many years without any issues. And it's a great product to have as a backup inside your gig bag, whether it's for you or just one set for the whole band, just in case somebody's in-ear monitors go down in the middle of a tour. You've got something you know you can count on. It's going to sound great.
And this is not to put down, that you shouldn't get these unless it's a backup, because I even have a good friend that's touring now. For some reason, I don't know why, but he knows why. He's not using customs. He's using the ones with foam tips just because he digs it. But these are what are available. Now, you're going to help me do a big time upgrade today.
Yes.
Because let me show the people what I'm working with. These have worked for a while. I'm not going to down them. They are what they are. You kind of get in where you fit in, right, when you're getting gear.
Sure.
And so these worked for me for a while. The connectors, they are detachable. But they're not the kind of connector that kind of come out the corner and are easier to fit around your ear. So I had to kind of finagle these and stuff. But for a while, I've had a loose driver. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a loose driver in here and it's not been fun to use. So you're gonna kind of help me show the people today what the process is to actually go from upgrading from the foam tip universal fit to actually getting something that's custom to your ear. So this is the process, and we're going to take you back behind the scenes in a little bit to show you a little bit about the production process. So when you're getting custom in-ear monitors made for yourself, you need something called an impression. You'll have to go to a professional audiologist, and they will put some kind of foam. You're going to see that in a few minutes because we're going to do it here. But actually, I wound up getting my own impressions done at a local place, and it wasn't the worst. But can you talk to the people that are going to do this kind of a process and they can't come in person, which actually, on a side note, if you come in person to in-ears, you get your impressions for free.
Yep, with purchase, we'll do your impressions for free. If you just want to get some impressions done, we can do them for what we call the mold hold fee, and we'll actually take the impression and digitally store it in our system so that whenever you are ready to purchase, they're available for you.
Right. So, but if you have to mail them in and get them done locally, there's some things that you want to make sure that are done correctly. And so I had these done separately. And when I brought them in to Martin, he said, they could have been done a little bit better. So maybe you can highlight what is not the best on these.
Yeah, so when you do go to get your ear impressions done, you're going to get them done by either an audiologist or a hearing aid specialist. And the first thing is to make sure that they do understand that what you're doing, the reason for the ear impressions is that they are going to be for in-ear monitors. The reason for that is most hearing aids only require the ear canal, or even if they do require the bowl, they just require the inner bowl in order to make a good impression. For in-ear monitors, we need to go past the second bend so that we've got the inside will have something to grab onto on the inside of the ear. Which they did a good job here on those. But then we also need the entire outer ear. And if you look at my ear here, talking about this area here, so we can see where the cord's gonna come out and go around your ear. So we need to see this area here. And then we also wanna see the outer edge of the bowl so we know how far out we can go with the inner monitor and create a nice flush finished product. So with these, they did a good job with the canal. They've got a decent amount of the outer bowl area of the impression, but when we flip it over and we take a look at this area here, which would be the tragus area right here, it's lacking. You can see that the impression goes from being kind of a dull surface to a very shiny surface, and that's anything that's shiny means it wasn't touching skin. And so you can tell that all that's missing. In fact, you can even see this little chunk here that's missing. Without that information, we literally would have to guess, and obviously guessing is not an option because there's a couple issues there. Number one, comfort. Number two, how well it's going to seal and sit in the ear. So really just having a full, complete impression is the number one key to getting a good in-ear monitor done.
And for somebody that has to find a local person, is there anything you recommend when they're doing research to ask specific questions?
Obviously ask if they've ever done or had any history working with in-ear monitors. But otherwise, we do have a tip sheet that's available on our website. You can take that with you and show it to the audiologist or hearing aid specialist, and that gives them a lot of information to work with.
Cool. Let's show them how to get some impressions done.
Sounds good to me.
The right way.
No, well, our impression material, it's a two-part. We have the syringes for the impression material, odo blocks to protect your eardrum from the impression material, and then an ear light to put the odo block in, and of course an otoscope to be able to check your ears, make sure that they're clean and ready to go for the impressions.
Can you tell me the importance of the odo block, or tell the people so they know?
Right. Well, the odo block is used to protect your eardrum from the impression material, because if that impression material gets on your eardrum, it's gonna hurt.
And it could probably rip out, right? Or damage when you're pulling out the foam.
Well, it wouldn't adhere to your eardrum because it's got a grease on it, so
Okay.
it's not going to stick to the eardrum. But it would hurt pretty bad if it touched it.
Right.
So
stay still and let him do his job. That's what I'm gonna do.
So you're going to grab one of these out of here. That is your bite block.
I feel like I'm going to the dentist.
Yep. So you're gonna bite on it just like this.
Okay,
You don't have to do it right now. Just once I get the odo blocks in.
gotcha. The importance of biting this, can you explain that?
So that gives us separation. The jaw bone is actually inside of your ear. So that will give us a little bit of movement. Like if you're a singer or you make funny faces while you're playing the guitar, it can actually work out with the jaw movement inside of your ear. So that will give us an idea of what it'll look like with your mouth open.
So some people I've heard before say that you want to like do a chewing motion. Is that trying to emulate the same thing as this? But this is more preferable?
Yeah, this is more preferred for us because that'll show the main tension.
Okay.
See, if you're doing up and down, then it's not going to be a solid plug. It's going to settle in some weird state in between those two. So we want it to be at the point where your jaw is open the most, so the jaw bones have separated or made that impression wider inside of your ear canal.
Okay. So I'm waiting on this. Yep. So you're just making sure right now that you can see if there's anything wrong in the ear.
Right, no obstructions, anything like that. I'm not really doing any diagnosis, just making sure that you're not plugged up with wax or you don't have some sort of deformity that would hurt you doing the impressions.
Right. Made sure to put some Q-tips in there this morning.
Yep, they're pretty darn clean, so we're good.
So here we go, we're putting in the odo block.
Yep. If you haven't had this done before, I go pretty deep because I need to know which way the sound's going to travel. So we're going down to the second bend of the ear canal.
For those people watching, it is a very weird feeling, but I trust that he's that he knows what he's doing. How long have you been doing this?
About 16 years.
I thought you were gonna try and get a sly one in 6 days.
Yeah. We want a tight fit when we're making the in-ear monitors because you don't want to lose the seal. So I prefer this impression material, even though it's a little old school. But with this, you don't really have to do any buildup in the 3D scanning machine. So now you're going to put that bite block in. And this is for the drool. Now you may feel a little bit of pressure. You may hear some snap, crackle, pops, but that's just the material setting up. Feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And last one. Now, you shouldn't be able to hear very well, but that'll be done in about 5 or 6 minutes.
Okay. The few minutes of wait time went by with a little bit of awkward silence and me exerting some energy on my bottom lip so that I wouldn't drool while I was on camera. While it was a little bit of a weird feeling when the material was squeezed into my ears, it wasn't that bad and it was definitely bearable for those few minutes.
I can tell it's a lot tighter. I did those over there. That sound really funny.
Oh, these?
I did those somewhere else.
Yeah, this is standard. That's like you went to a hearing aid office or something like that. Yeah. So that's standard polyvinyl silicone impressions, and it doesn't really add the pressure to your ear canal to expand it to get that tight
I
fit.
can feel it.
Yeah. So with these types of impressions, generally when we get this sort of material, we have to take it in the 3D machine and actually expand it a little bit. So we have to make it a tighter fit. And then you also have people who will send scanned files, digital files. So they're not doing regular impressions. So they're sending those, and those will be the absolute, I mean, that's the shape of your ear. So you got to really build them up like 2 or 3 times to be able to make them fit correctly. Because you want a tight fit. You don't want any leakage. You're going to lose low frequencies, and you can damage your hearing. That feels like it's done. That's it. All right, let's check. Yeah. There we go. You can take that bite block out now.
I wanted to talk and I felt like I couldn't. Yeah, I could definitely.
Make sure we didn't leave anything behind.
Okay, that's important. No souvenirs.
We're good.
I could definitely feel the difference in the material that's used, you know, what you just used.
Yeah.
And you were saying the importance is that it gives a way tighter fit, right?
Correct. Yeah, because you don't want any leakage.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it in there, it was almost like the feeling of if Play-Doh was in there. It's
a little bit
heavier, and it expanded, and it's solid.
And there's you, because it's a little greasy. I know.
Yeah.
Wipe your ear off.
And you were saying that's better because it's going to give a more solid, tighter fit, right?
Correct. Yeah. We want a nice tight fit. We don't want them to leak at all. If you have any leakage, your low frequencies will bleed out immediately, and plus you can get hearing damage from all the sound from stage coming in.
Is that a material you think most people, if they had to mail in impressions, they could ask for that particular material?
Not a lot of audiologists and hearing aid dispensers are going to carry this type of material, and they're going to have just the traditional hearing aid impression material, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I prefer this. It takes an extra step out of the process for us.
And what was the name of that material, just in case?
That's the Instamold product.
And you said that was more old school?
It's a little bit, yeah. 2-part. You got to mix it yourself.
Okay.
Whereas the guns, I mean, it's the same sort of stuff. It's just, you don't get the same pressure out of the little, well, I call them caulking guns, but out of the impression guns. So you don't get the same sort of pressure with it, and that's why this material out of the syringe will create that pressure in the canal and expand it just ever so slightly.
Right. All right, so we got the impressions made the right way. And now, can you take my poor little impressions and make them really nice into some nice customs for me?
Absolutely. So step one of the ordering process and production process for us here is part of our ISO certification and FDA requirements for being a hearing aid lab, a medical device manufacturer. We have trays with barcodes on them. And so step one would be, I don't have your order yet, but we would put the order in here with the impressions, and then we will take them into their step one of the process. So basically follow me and we'll head back towards our digital ear mold lab.
Sounds good.
All right.
And to the back we went, behind the scenes, to see just a glimpse of what it takes to make in-ear monitors.
So along the way, this is actually our hearing aid manufacturing area. So all of our hearing aids are assembled in this area here, along with our erasers, earplugs. We do all the production, fulfillment, packaging, everything gets prepared in this area here. But this is along the way to our digital lab. And this is our digital lab. So Johnny takes care of all of our incoming impressions. He'll scan them for us, get them into our system so that they are stored on our servers, and we'll have access to them for a minimum of 7 years. Once you hit the 7-year mark, we start to get a little bit concerned about our bodies are continually growing, and so our ears will change over time. So usually once it gets past the 7-year mark, we'll start to inquire how well your old ones are fitting and whether or not it's time to get a new set of impressions. But in the meantime, we have them digitally stored, and we can produce, repair, or make new anything for your ears off your existing in-ear impressions. There we go. So step one of the process, we're going to take the impressions that we receive, either the ones that we did here, or if we receive them in from a customer that had them done at a local hearing aid store or audiologist. We're going to prep them for the scanning process, and then they will be placed into the scanner itself. There's a quick process where the scanner will actually create a 3D model of that impression, and it'll show up on the screen here where we can then store it as a file on a computer, basically. And it'll be on our system, available for us whenever we need them. And it's really interesting with the new technology. This process is very quick.
It's pretty cool. So it's literally populating it into the computer simultaneously as it's scanning.
Correct.
That's cool.
And that's it.
Wow, that is cool. So then you just label and stash them away.
Correct. So it'll be saved under the customer's name, order number, or serial number for that matter. Once that process is complete, if we're going to actually use those impressions for a 3D build, we're actually going to build them using our 3D printers, then we would come over here. This is our modeling screen, and we'll actually take the rough original impression, and we will digitally trim it, smooth it, and create the final shell that we actually want to build and put into production. And so that's kind of what he's doing here. He's determining where he wants to cut off any excess. Later in the process, if it's, let's say, a hearing aid, he can actually drop in the components, the battery compartment, and all the other aspects of the build to make sure everything fits where he wants it to fit, and that we're going to get the fit as deep as we want, the shell as big or small as we want for the customer. And that's all done digitally on this part of the screen. Nice. Now, once that's accomplished, he'll take that individual shell and he'll save it onto a build platform, digital build platform, and we'll add up to 20 or 30 shells onto a single build platform.
Oh, wow.
And that file will be saved as a build job and sent over to the 3D printers, which are right over here. So we have 3 different 3D printers that we use right now. Each of the printers will hold a different color material, And so we can build white, black, red, blue, clear, beige, several different colors. And then based on what our needs are, they'll send the different builds to each machine, let it go through the process. And once that's completed, they take the shells out, clean them, and then they're able to send those out to the production floor. And then they'll just start a new build process. Build processes, depending on how many they have, how big they are, typically take a couple hours. This one here is roughly 41 minutes into about a 2-hour print job.
Many of the in-ear monitors are not 3D printed, so a physical mold is made of each impression. Each mold is trimmed by hand and then made into a negative mold to be used in the pouring process by which they will create the actual final shell.
Yeah, these aren't 3D printed. These are actually hand poured. We've always, for whatever reason, we've stuck with hand pouring for years. We haven't moved into digital for at least our pro side stuff. So we trim an actual impression of your ear, and then once we get the final shape, we will cast that and make a negative. And once this gelatin, it's a colloid. Once this cools, we can actually pour a shell in whatever color you'd like.
So based on the color that one selects is how you select, like right here you have a red and a green, right?
Yeah, we have all these colors we actually will pre-make with various inks and dyes to get the different shades. And then based on what color, we have a different, our chart based on how long we actually need to cook them in the UV oven to get the right thickness of the shell. Because if they're too thin, they'll be too brittle. If they're too thick, we can't get the parts in.
And as far as, can I see one of the molds? Oh, I can't, I won't touch it. So obviously it's negative, but it has to be hollow. So how does it remain hollow? Does the liquid just coats the outside?
Well, we fill it all the way to the top. We actually will cover it with a cap that is light proof. This oven emits UV rays. It's UV light. So the light will come from all directions except for the top. So by doing that, it's curing from the outside inward. So based on the amount of time that we cook it, will be the thickness of the wall, and then we pour out the excess once we've gotten to the desired time.
I got you.
So I can actually pour one real quick.
That'd be awesome.
To show you. So this particular one. So we'll fill it all the way to the top. We'll cover it with this cap. And we'll put it in. And then we'll just put in the desired time that we want. So we're gonna go 45 seconds on this.
So 45 seconds of time. Wow, that's
for
quick.
this particular color. Some colors will be all the way up to 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Some can be 10 seconds. It just depends on how fast the light travels through the particular resin that we're using.
So it goes from liquid to solid, and it's a strong solid in that amount of time. It's pretty amazing.
It's an acrylic, but it feels more like plastic.
Yeah.
Once it's done. Now that we've cooked this, we're gonna pour out the excess.
I see. So it sticks to the walls.
Yeah. Based on the time, we'll create the actual thickness of the shell.
That's cool. Does it have to go in for another cook?
Yeah, we actually will let it drain for 30 seconds, a minute, and then once we feel that it's fully drained, then we'll put it back in. We'll cook it again based on whatever color it is. We'll based on, you know, the time. And then we'll actually use nitrogen. We're using an inert gas, because if we cure it without an inert gas, it'll be sticky on the inside of the shell. So when we cure it with nitrogen, it'll actually it'll be as if it was never liquid. So this one's ready to go back in.
So it's come out for the second time,
Yes.
and so it's ready to be pulled out of its mold.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our end result. And then from here, we'll end up cleaning all the shells in an ultrasonic cleaner. And then from there, once everything is clean, then we actually will trim the shell down to its final height that we need to. Then it'll go on to the Dremel station, where it'll get the right amount of sound ports drilled for it. And we'll cut out the hole for whatever socket they're going to be using, whatever the customer chooses. And then from there, usually it'll go out to the assembly floor, and they'll wire up everything and get all the parts assembled and ready for us to put in the shell.
So this is what's coming from the other production station, right?
Yes, this is coming from the assembly floor.
So they've literally taken different drivers. Are these the low drivers, low end?
Yes.
And then the tubes are to send that to the innermost part of your impression, right? I mean,
Yeah,
your,
that's gonna
your
go.
ear.
Yeah, that'll go directly to the tip of your ear canal.
It's amazing, man. So you've received from the other department all the drivers like we just showed. Then you take them and you have to do the painstaking job of smashing them in there.
Yeah, it's like playing Tetris sometimes. You know, this is a particularly small ear, and this, I believe, this was a 6 driver, so we were able to fit it in there. But as you can tell, it's kind of a tight fit.
I mean, honestly, when I started with ears, I had a triple, the one that I showed Martin earlier. But then they started adding like 4, 5, 6. Now you're up to how many?
10.
10 drivers. Like, do you get mad when you get 10 driver ones? Like, really? I gotta smash all these in here.
In the beginning, yeah, a little bit, but as we, you know, the more we do it, it just becomes second nature. You know, it's a single driver. I mean, it takes longer to do a 10 driver, but as far as difficulty, like we've all been doing it for so long that it's just second nature at this point.
But I'm imagining, so you have your process, like if you have a 10 driver, you already know this driver goes under first. And
There is a kind of a template that we use mentally. We all kind of know about where they need to be going, but every ear is, you know, it's like fingerprints. Every ear is going to be a little bit different.
And once you get it to this point where everything's tightly fit, then you put the outer piece on.
Yeah. After this point, we would then glue the faceplate.
And that's what you have over here, right?
Yes.
So it's just a generic shape.
Yes. It doesn't have to be the same size. This is the way we do it. So there's a hole cut out because this particular model is using a dell. So we will actually fit it here. Once it is then glued, then it will go to the Dremel station, and they will lab out the faceplate and get it flush with the shell. And then from there, it'll end up going on to either artwork or serial numbers, of which we would actually put the model and the customer's initials.
Okay. So this is going to be a process of checking and making sure that all the drivers are working correctly,
Yes.
which is important to do before you put on the final faceplate, I'm imagining.
We check it multiple times
Do you?
throughout the process. They get checked before they ever even, once they wire them up on the floor and everything is assembled, they will check them before they ever make it into the shell.
So this putty ensures that there's a good seal.
Yeah.
And you're feeding it kind of like a white noise type thing with a full spectrum of frequencies?
Yes, we run pink noise, but yeah, very similar. It's just a generic thing that we run through all of them.
So this particular monitor has a lot of colors on its faceplate. And I think you were saying that there's a printer that is right here next to you. So could you explain that really quick, how that works?
It's essentially just a large laser printer. Based on what we're printing, you know, we have different jigs for different products, but when it comes to customs, we just putty them up.
And I think Martin was saying it uses UV.
It is a UV-based ink. So
Okay.
as you know, once we have to do a setup in the beginning where we'll putty everything, get it level. We have to do a height check on everything to make sure that the print heads are not going to hit the product that we're printing on, because they actually will hover just slightly above the product itself. It never actually touches the product. Just the ink actually will be sprayed onto the product, and then as it passes over it, a UV light cures the ink.
Okay.
And it'll do that in multiple passes, just like a normal, you know, printer.
We were now done with the behind the scenes of the tour, but before I left, Martin took some time to explain to me their industry-leading warranty, showing that they stand behind their products.
So we talked about this earlier. Can you tell everyone what warranty looks like? Because it sounds like you guys really back your product.
Yeah, it started with our erasers earplugs. You know, for a long time in the industry when it came to universal type fit earplugs, it was just an off-the-shelf purchase. You know, you went to the store, you spent 15, 20 bucks on a pair of earplugs, and if they fit, they didn't fit, they worked, they didn't work, you liked them, you didn't like them, it didn't matter. You bought them, you opened the package, they were yours. Erasers, we just felt like we had such a good product. We said, look, try them, buy them and try them. If they're not the best thing you've ever put in your ears, we'll give you your money back. And everybody was like, what are you doing? You know, there's no way you can do that. We said, look, we're so confident in the product that we don't have a problem doing that. And not to mention the fact that if you're not happy with our product, why are we taking your money from you?
Right.
And it was very successful. And we, within a year of being launched at Guitar Center, we were not only the #1 selling earplug that they've ever had in their stores, we were one of the best selling accessory products they've ever had in their stores.
Wow.
And we've continued to have that kind of success there for the last 8-9 years. So when we launched the new in-ears audio under the Persona Medical ownership, we said we felt the same way about our product. We felt so confident that we could build a better in-ear monitor that people were going to like better than anything they've owned before. We created the first 30-day money-back written guarantee on our production. So you bought a product from us, if you had any issues within 30 days, if we couldn't fix it for you, we were going to give you your money back. And the industry was stunned. Now, a couple of companies, I think, have come out with their own written guarantees, and we think that's great because we feel like it kind of brings everybody up. It allows customers to be more confident in their purchases. But we also stand behind our products with a 1-year manufacturer's warranty. And we're very lenient on that first claim. There's a lot of times where people have issues with earwax, moisture, things like that. It happens. It's not really a manufacturer's defect,
Right.
but we're going to stand behind it, take care of you, and make sure you're going to be happy with your product. But beyond that, we also do a 1-year fit guarantee. Most companies, as far as I know, they only offer between a 30 and a 90-day fit guarantee. So obviously, you know, when they first make it, they're going to make sure that it fits you well. And if you have a problem, you can send it back in for a refit. But we go further than that. We say, look, anytime in the first year, if you have a fit issue, you know, gain weight, lose weight, you're younger and you're still growing into your adult body, whatever the case may be, you have an issue within the first year, send it back to us. We'll take care of it for you. So we want people to know that. Not only do we make a great product, but we're going to stand behind it 100% and make sure that you're happy. So yeah, we're going to offer a special referral code. It's going to give you a discount off your purchase of the product, as well as long as you sign up for our Smile Rewards program. Basically, you get rewards points for your purchases, which you can turn into purchase dollars down the road. So whether it be you buy a set of in-ear monitors today and a few months down the road you decide you want to get a set of earplugs or some kind of a maintenance kit like our Moisture Guard hearing aid dryer box to help keep them dry and clean, or the Jody Vac to help clean out any buildup of earwax inside the sound tubes, you can use those points, turn them into dollars, and use that to discount the purchase price of a new product from us.
Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot today. I think it's fascinating, all the technology that goes into squeezing these tiny speakers. I mean, when you put them in your ears, you sound like you're listening to this massive system, you know? And it's just amazing. But I'm glad to be partnering with In-Ears Audio for my personal in-ear needs. And like he said, there's going to be a code. It'll be somewhere on the screen and in the description below. Check it out to get your discount on your personal in-ear monitors. And hey, I mean, it's for houses of worship. It's for people that just want to have a good ear fit for jogging, right? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, so many people spend so many hours a day listening to music through traditional earbuds, iPods, things like that. And we just need to make people aware that that puts a lot of pressure on your ears over the day. If you ever experience anything like that head in a tunnel effect or any kind of ringing in your ears after listening to your earbuds and your headphones, that is a direct sign of hearing damage. And that's what we're really trying to avoid here. Keep the volume a little bit lower, or take some breaks in between listening to your music. Be safe, be irresponsible, and you know, just in-ear monitors do allow you to listen at a lower volume and still give you that quality sound that you're looking for.
I'm a bass player. I'm getting the 350s.
P350s with Adele.
With Adele. Hey guys, thanks a lot. Martin?
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time, man. Take care.
Yep.
Down below in the description, you're going to see a code that'll get you a discount when you get your own set of in-ears monitors here from In-Ears Audio. Check them out and check that code out below. Reach out for more information and let Martin know that I sent you.